Eleanor is already stepping out the gate when Molly throws herself across the sidewalk. The bus is at the stop, the doors are open. Eleanor can hear the hydraulic hiss and the low engine vibration that means it will not wait long. Her handbag is pressed tight against her side. She is late. Not dangerously late, but late enough that missing this bus will turn a simple appointment into a complication. Molly does not hesitate. She runs ahead and drops flat exactly before the corner, not wandering, not distracted, blocking. Eleanor stops short to avoid stepping on her. The bus engine revs. Molly stays down. Eleanor moves to the left. Molly shifts left. Eleanor tries the right. Molly mirrors her again, precise, controlled, eyes fixed on the blind turn ahead. A cyclist passes on the visible side of the street, harmless, already in view long before the curve. The bus doors close. Eleanor watches it pull away, and Molly lowers herself even closer to the curb, as if the real problem has not happened yet. Eleanor slows because stepping over Molly is not an option. Her bones will not forgive a misstep, and her conscience will not forgive a crushed paw. She lifts her free hand and makes the small downward gesture she uses at home when she wants Molly to scoot away from a cabinet door or a laundry basket. Molly's ears remain upright. She stares at the corner. The corner is ordinary in every way except one. A tall hedge bulges outward, and a white delivery van is parked near the turn, creating a blind angle where the street curves and a bike lane threads through. Eleanor has crossed there so many times it lives in her body as a habit, not a decision. Molly makes it a decision. Eleanor tries to step around her on the inside edge of the sidewalk, closer to the hedge. Molly glides sideways with quiet precision and closes the gap again. The bus almost mockingly shifts gears and rolls forward. Eleanor watches it pass through the intersection and feels the missed timing as a physical thing, like losing a stair you expected to be there. She exhales through her nose and bends slightly at the waist, careful of her back, aiming to lift Molly. It should be simple. 2 hands, a gentle scoop, the familiar weight, the mild protest. Molly twists away before Eleanor's fingers can settle, not in panic, in refusal. She slips forward 3 steps closer to the corner and drops again, flattening herself at the curb where the crosswalk begins. Now she is not only blocking Eleanor's path down the sidewalk, she is blocking the crossing itself. Eleanor straightens slowly, the motion careful, measured. She glances at her watch. She glances toward the stop where the bus had been. Empty now, the next one is in 30 minutes. That is the kind of wait that turns a routine appointment into a day rearranged around plastic seats and fluorescent lighting. She tries a different tactic. She steps onto the narrow strip of grass beside the sidewalk, thinking she can bypass Molly without conflict. Just a small detour, a practical workaround. Molly pops up instantly and repositions herself, tail stiff, body angled so Eleanor cannot pass without stepping into the street. The stubbornness is almost comical. A cat policing a human's route like a strict little traffic officer. Eleanor's irritation flares, then softens into something more complicated. Molly is not doing this for attention. She is not meowing. She is not looking at Eleanor for reaction. Her gaze stays fixed on the blind corner. A faint mechanical hum drifts through the air. It is not loud. It could be a distant lawn tool, a vent fan, the general pulse of the neighborhood waking up. It fades, returns, fades again. Eleanor listens, uncertain. Her hearing is good for her age, but sounds have become tricky. They bounce. They disguise themselves. They blend. A cyclist appears from the visible side of the street, well before the turn, moving at an easy pace. He passes through the intersection safely, fully seen, fully predictable. The hum fades with him. Eleanor feels the first tug of embarrassment. She has been delayed by a cat and a harmless bicycle. This is ridiculous. The appointment is routine. The stakes are low, the morning is calm. She should simply pick Molly up and go back inside, close the door, wait for the next bus. But Molly holds her position like a small, silent argument. Eleanor tries again to lift her. Molly slips away again, not even fast, just perfectly timed. She circles once and returns to the same spot, lying down at the curb as if the pavement has her name on it. Eleanor's fingers tighten on the handbag strap. She shifts her weight from one foot to the other and feels the mild ache in her hips from standing still. Waiting is harder than walking sometimes. She makes a third attempt, this time moving slowly and decisively, stepping toward the crosswalk with the intention of crossing anyway. If Molly wants to follow, she will follow. If she wants to stay, she will stay. Eleanor cannot negotiate with a cat. Molly moves first. She darts in front of Eleanor's shins and stops short, not touching, but close enough that Eleanor has to freeze mid-step. The corner remains hidden. The hum returns, faint and intermittent, like a thread being pulled and released. Eleanor's patience thins, and she feels the morning slipping away in tiny pieces she cannot retrieve. Then the hum passes and nothing happens. No sudden bicycle, no near miss, no dramatic interruption. Just the ordinary flow of air and traffic. Eleanor stands there still, feeling slightly foolish for giving the corner so much attention. She looks down at Molly, and Molly's fur has smoothed. The tension along her spine eases. Her tail lowers from rigid to neutral. It seems finally like the moment has ended. Eleanor decides to reset the situation. She turns back toward the house. Not in defeat exactly, but in practicality. She will close the door properly, get inside, call the clinic if she needs to, and wait for the next bus. A routine appointment can survive a delay. Her day will simply be shaped differently. Molly follows, but not close. She trails at a measured distance, ears still alert, stopping once to glance back at the corner before continuing. Inside, Eleanor checks the latch twice. The door clicks with a firmness it should have had earlier. She sets her handbag on the table and rubs her fingers together, feeling the slight tremor that comes after tension you did not realize you were holding. She moves to the window and looks toward the intersection from inside the safety of glass. The hedge and the van are still there. From this angle, the corner looks harmless, even boring. It looks like something that belongs in the background of a quiet neighborhood morning, not something that can demand a decision. Molly jumps onto the windowsill with a single fluid motion. Pause, silent. She sits with her white chest forward, tail wrapped neatly, green eyes steady on the curve. Eleanor watches her for a moment and feels a small reluctant amusement. A cat guarding a corner. A cat enforcing a rule no one else knows exists. She checks the bus schedule again. 30 minutes feels long, but it is manageable. She can make tea. She can rest her back. She can arrive slightly late and apologize with that calm, polite apology she has practiced through decades of small inconveniences. She fills the kettle and hears through the window a familiar mechanical whir rising and falling outside. Molly's ears tilt forward. Eleanor pauses with her hand on the kettle handle. The sound fades again. Nothing follows it. Eleanor exhales, a little laugh that never becomes a laugh, and tells herself the morning has simply become one of those mornings, the kind that refuses to stay simple. When the next bus time approaches, Eleanor puts her coat on again, sets her glasses properly, and steps outside with renewed patience. Molly slips out with her before the door fully closes, not fleeing, not bolting, just returning to her post. Eleanor starts down the walkway with less urgency now, but more caution, and that changes everything. When you are rushing, you assume the world will cooperate. When you are cautious, you notice how often it does not. Molly walks ahead, medium tail level, moving with a quiet confidence that feels almost instructional. She reaches the sidewalk and goes directly to the same spot near the corner. She lies down again, blocking. Eleanor stops a few feet behind her and waits, testing a new strategy. Not fighting, not chasing, not lifting, simply observing. If Molly is going to insist, then Eleanor will try for once to understand what she is insisting about. The mechanical hum returns, softer than before, then sharpens briefly, then softens again. It is closer now. It has a rhythm that suggests wheels, not engines. Eleanor leans slightly to see around the hedge. The van is still parked, still creating that blind curve. A car passes through the cross street, and its sound washes over everything else, smearing the smaller noises into nothing. Then the car is gone and the hum is back, clearer for a moment, then gone again. Molly's whiskers angle forward. Eleanor takes one step closer. Molly rises and shifts sideways to block that step. Eleanor stops again, and this time she does not feel irritation. She feels the strange, reluctant sensation of being directed. The bus approaches in the distance, engine growing, the familiar pattern of arrival. Eleanor hears it and feels the old urgency try to return, but it cannot fully take hold because Molly will not allow forward motion without permission. Eleanor tries to step around Molly on the outside edge of the sidewalk, closer to the street. She chooses it because it feels safer for her footing than the grass, and because she is tired of the hedge leaves brushing her sleeve. Molly moves with her instantly and places herself in front again. Eleanor's mouth tightens. She looks down the street toward the bus stop. She can see the bus now rounding a far bend. She can see the minutes collapsing again. She makes the practical decision. She will cross at the corner quickly and catch the bus. She will do it carefully, but she will do it. She will not miss another one because of this. She steps forward toward the crosswalk. Molly darts across her shins, close enough to force Eleanor to halt mid-motion. Eleanor's foot hovers at the curb edge. Her balance shifts. Her hand goes instinctively to the hedge, not even touching yet, just preparing. The hum spikes suddenly louder, closer, and then disappears behind the bulk of the van as something approaches from the blind side. Eleanor freezes. The bus is almost at the stop now. She can hear its brakes. She can imagine the doors opening, the driver glancing down the street, seeing no one, closing them again. The small humiliation of standing alone after missing it. The extra half hour. The phone call to the clinic. She tries to override the situation with action. She bends, finally committed to lifting Molly no matter what. Her hands reach down, fingers spreading, and Molly slips away again, not running off, just repositioning herself between Eleanor and the crosswalk. Eleanor straightens, breath sharper now. She feels the mild strain in her lower back from bending twice. She feels the impatience trying to win again. Molly's eyes stay fixed on the curve. Eleanor looks too. And because she is looking now, really looking, she notices how little she can see. The hedge blocks the first portion of the bike lane. The van blocks the second. A rider could be almost on top of the crosswalk before becoming visible. The hum comes again, and this time it does not fade. It grows. Eleanor's stomach tightens in a small, quiet way. A cyclist appears from behind the van, moving fast. Not reckless in the way of someone who wants trouble, but fast in the way of someone who is late and assumes the path will be clear. Head slightly down, legs pumping, body leaning into the curve as if the turn belongs to him. He is so close to the crosswalk, when he becomes visible that the distance feels like a trick. Eleanor is still on the curb because Molly has kept her there. Molly is positioned across her next step. The cyclist slices through the crosswalk space with a sharp rush of air and a soft, angry vibration of tires on concrete. No impact happens, but the margin is thin enough that Eleanor feels it in her skin, like a breeze that carries a warning. The cyclist swerves slightly as he passes, startled by the presence at the corner, and continues without stopping. He is gone in seconds, swallowed by the street. The bus arrives at the stop at the same time, its brakes sighing, doors opening. Eleanor does not move. Her heart is beating too hard for a routine morning. Molly stays rigid, fur slightly raised along her spine, green eyes tracking the vanished motion. Eleanor slowly lowers her foot back from the curb edge, choosing backward instead of forward. She exhales, long and shaky, and feels the delayed realization settle in. The risk was not dramatic, it was ordinary. It was exactly the kind of ordinary that hurts people, because it arrives quietly and assumes no one will question it. The bus waits with its doors open. Eleanor takes one step toward it, then stops again, looking down at Molly. Molly is still facing the corner, as if the danger is not fully gone until the sound is fully gone. Eleanor chooses the bus anyway, because life still moves, but she crosses with exaggerated care, leaning around the hedge, scanning the blind angle, waiting an extra beat even after she thinks it is clear. Molly walks beside her, close enough that Eleanor can feel her brush against her calf, a steadying point of contact. They reach the bus door. Eleanor steps up slowly, hand gripping the rail, breath still uneven. The driver's face is neutral, the kind of neutrality that comes from seeing 1,000 small delays and not knowing which ones mattered. Eleanor sits near the window, bag in her lap, hands clasped tighter than usual. The bus pulls away. Through the glass, she sees Molly on the sidewalk. Molly does not follow. She sits at the corner like a small sentinel, tail wrapped, ears forward, watching the blind curve as if it has become her responsibility. As the bus moves, Eleanor's body begins to settle, but her mind does not. She replays the sequence in short, sharp fragments. The door not latched, Molly slipping out, the blocking, the missed bus, the reset, the second attempt, the hum. The cyclist appearing too late to be seen in time, and the uncomfortable truth underneath it all. Eleanor would have crossed without thinking because she always has, because routine is persuasive, because it feels safe right up until it is not. She looks at her hands and notices they are trembling slightly. Not fear exactly, something closer to delayed impact. The shock of almost, the burden of what did not happen. Outside, the neighborhood slides past in familiar pieces. Trees, side streets, a man walking a dog, a bicycle far away moving slowly, harmless. The world looks normal, and that normality makes the earlier moment feel even stranger. She adjusts her glasses and tries to breathe more evenly. She thinks about the clinic. She thinks about the waiting room. She thinks about how she will describe her lateness if she is late, and how silly it will sound to say a cat stopped her at a corner. But then she remembers the air rushing against her skirt as the cyclist passed the crosswalk space. She remembers the impossibility of seeing him until he was already there. And silly feels less important than true. At the next stoplight, the bus pauses, and Eleanor sees a cyclist on the sidewalk waiting politely, foot down, looking both ways before moving. The contrast is almost absurd. One rider cautious, one rider fast, both ordinary, both part of the same morning. Eleanor's grip on her handbag loosens slightly. She realizes something else too, softer and more personal. Her body is slower now. Her reaction time is slower. Her ability to jump back is not what it was. That corner has been demanding more from her than she has been giving it. And she did not notice because routine hid it. Molly noticed. Not with human understanding, not with foresight, but with instinct responding to the shape of the risk. The bus light turns green. They move again. When Eleanor returns home later, the day will look much like any other day. The appointment will be completed. The clinic will be mildly annoyed or mildly indifferent. The world will not mark the near miss with any dramatic sign, but Eleanor will. Back at the house, she will close the door carefully and listen for the click with a new attention. She will pause at that corner on future mornings with an extra beat of patience, leaning past the hedge before committing her weight forward. She will not call it fear. She will call it sense. And Molly, whether she sits by the window with her green eyes steady or wanders through the hallway with her grey tail flicking softly, will remain the one who moved first, who insisted first, who broke the routine before the routine could break Eleanor. The episode of the blocked sidewalk will become one of those quiet stories that changes behavior without becoming a big story at all. A small inconvenience, a missed bus, a rescheduled minute, a corner that now has memory, and a cat who, for reasons Eleanor cannot fully translate, claimed the exact spot where timing and habit were about to collide. If you want to keep following the stories of Molly and Eleanor, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps these stories keep being told